Hello and welcome to Nerdarchy for Nerds by Nerds. I'm Nerdarchy Dave, and today I am joined by AMDM Lee. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Thank you for asking.
Well, thanks for jumping on today. I appreciate it. As always, folks, down in the description you can find links to click on, follow AMDM around the interwebs, and if you'd be so kind of introduce yourself and kind of give people the 5 minute can't talk today. Elevator pitch about what you do, I would appreciate it.
All right. I've been gaming for 34 years now. I run a YouTube channel, a Discord, TikTok, and I do a lot of TikTok and play a lot of D&D.
Nice.
That's pretty much it. I play a lot of D&D.
I ran into you over on TikTok and I watched a couple videos. I enjoyed them, and now you show up in my For You page. And I just love the community over there. So I've been trying to bring on more and more TikTokers to kind of talk about the D&D community and what they're doing over there and just whatever other nerdy thing happens to come up.
There are an amazing number of D&D TikTokers that are just, I'm like, they need more followers. They're just crazy good with their storytelling.
TikTok is tough though, like in the sense that the way they distribute the content, right? Like, because some people are like really super stingy with their likes, follows, subscribes, whatever you want to call it, right? So like if you see someone and you like them, and then you're like, okay, I like that one, but I'm not necessarily going, if I see something else I like it, maybe I'll follow. You may not see them again just because of the way the TikTok algorithm works.
Yeah, and apparently they limit the number of people that you can follow.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it taps out at 10,000.
Oh, I'm a ways away from there. I'm probably going to hit it before too long though, because I don't know. Like, to me, it's weird. Like, digital currency means almost zero to me. It's like I'll read a comment on our YouTube channel and be like, I've been following you for 3 months and I decided to subscribe. And I'm like, thanks. I'll see like half of a video of somebody and be like, oh, I kind of like this, and hit subscribe and may never go back. But I very much kind of like live in the moment.
Well, that's what TikTok is. It's all about the moment. I mean, it's in 1 minute increments of D&D or whatever else you're interested in. But yeah, it's all just real quick segments.
Yeah, I would say like 9 out of 10 times if a D&D TikToker shows up on my For You page, that I hit follow. So
I think I'm the same way. If I see somebody that has D&D content,
yeah,
I follow them. I get sent messages on there and like, hey, have you seen this guy yet? Nope, yeah. I have now though.
Yeah, I just kind of like, you like D&D too, me too. Click. So,
yep.
So how did you get started with TikTok?
My wife, she had shown me some TikToks of some cosplayers and some comic book stuff. And, I'm an all around nerd like most of us on here. And I started following a few people and then slowly got into it and started duetting here and there. And that's how I ended up here with one video that went viral.
Who the TikToker is that you first like duetted that kind of got you started?
The first one, honestly, I don't remember. I know I remember the one that actually went viral for me.
Because what was that?
All right, the video, I can't remember the guy's name, and I apologize for that. But he had asked, all right, D&D TikTokers, can you be bribed as a DM? So I did this video where I was very serious. No, I'm a dungeon master. I can't be bribed at all. I abide by the laws in this book. And on the top of it, I was like, potato chips, candy, chocolate, coffee. So me talking was one thing, but I was saying all the stuff that you could buy me off with.
And typing nice. Seems legit. So what kind of content do you like putting up over on TikTok?
I like duetting. I like to do the funny stuff. And I see something that I think is hilarious and D&D related. I'll try to duet it. And I answer a lot of questions. I do a lot of I try to respond to all the questions that are asked of me. And apparently I've become known for mimics.
No, Mimic Master.
I made a comment that one of my wife's characters has mimic armor, and that has I get sent a lot of stuff on mimics now.
Wait. You gave a character mimic armor?
Yes, I found it on the homebrew section in D&D Beyond.
Yeah.
And I was like, why not? This seems like something fun.
So is that a monster or a magic item?
It is classified as I think it was classified as a monster. But we run it as it's a magic item, and she named it, her character named it Clarence. And he's become an integral part of our campaign.
So if you die wearing mimic armor, do you get eaten?
He has lost a toe because her character Clay was dead for a little bit. So she actually has now told him and enforced him that he is not allowed to eat her for 24 hours.
There's a 24-hour embargo on the body. Gotcha.
You have to wait 24 hours before you can eat him.
That's classic.
We'll see if he actually follows that. But
so, do you play a lot of family games?
My Sunday night game is my wife and 2 kids, and then a couple of people that I work with.
Cool.
So, and we play almost every Sunday. It is family game night.
I've only gotten 2 out of 3 into gaming. I think the third one is not going to happen. My daughter is much more into. Well, actually, she is very much into TikTok, but just not the D&D side of it, and makeup and really girly things.
That's when you start with the cosplay and you move it over to.
Yeah. Oh, I've tried. Like originally when I tried getting her into D&D, it was during her Monster High phase. And I was like, okay, I think this could work. Monster. So we made a Monster High-ish character for her. But even then, it still didn't really work. She really just liked using the spell cards, and she would play them like they were Pokemon cards or something. But she has no idea what Pokemon is or had ever really played it. So that was odd in itself. But I think it was just like the osmosis of nerdiness coming out.
I've run into people who continue to try to put Pokemon into my D&D settings.
There was a Pokemon RPG for a while, or maybe still there. There might still be. There's a channel where they're running Pokemon games.
Okay, yeah.
Listen, people will D&D all the things.
There is a place in Dungeons and Dragons for everyone.
There is. Yesterday morning I played in a game with one of my son's friends GMing. He's just kind of getting into it, and I was like, I really didn't want to play a Sunday morning game, to be honest with you, but I was like, he's just getting started, so I wanted to support that. So now I'm playing Slick, the swamp to swamp sales lizard. But
my oldest is actually dipping his toes into DMing. And I feel sorry for him because we're playing the entire party as bards.
Oh, nice.
Yes. Shea Agora. Nice to meet you. We are Crowded Harmony. We actually won a battle of the bands the last time we played, so it was great.
Yeah. That sounds like fun. I mean, when you have a couple characters that play instruments and or bards in the group, you need to do a battle of the bands at some point. It's just inevitable.
Oh, yeah.
I think we did that with the one bard, and my son was playing a turtle. So the turtle and the bard did the battle of the bands, but the turtle only showed up to be used as a drum. So, yeah, kids, what are you gonna do?
Oh yeah, can't kill
So
them and you can't bury them in the backyard. Uh,
there's agencies that are against that.
yeah,
So you playing in a few stream games or running a couple stream games?
yeah, both. On Tuesday nights, I run a game of Assassins, uh, kind of set in a Weird West section of my campaign world. On I play in a game with another group completely separate from my stuff, where I'm actually a player, called the Chaotic Rollers, on Wednesdays. Fridays, I run a game called Order of the Scale, which I never know who's actually going to play in that game because it's just the first come, first serve out from my Discord server.
Is that an ongoing game or is that like
that is
a
an
one
ongoing game?
Okay.
I've actually had to split it into, because I've had some people that have shown up multiple times. So I have split them off into their own little section. So I run them like the last Friday of the month, just that one particular group out of it. They're kind of like, the entire group is kind of like Musketeers,
Okay.
where they all work for the king and he sends them off on missions. And they have taken, I created a channel on my Discord server just so they could do some downtime RPing. I now have more channels just for that offline, that Discord RP group, than I do for anything else on my server. They have completely taken it over.
Yeah.
And there's nothing I can do. It's just, it's amazing what they've done to my little section and little campaign world that I've given them. It is crazy.
The cockroach effect.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
We keep
Apparently
multiplying.
some of the members are getting married. I don't know. It's gotten wild.
Yeah. I just imagine you peek in there every once in a while and you're like, all right, that's enough.
I actually had to mute some of those channels because of how many times that were being posted. It's like I go in there and say, okay, 50 new messages. An hour later, 450 new messages. I'm like, oh, Jesus.
I am terrible at Discord. And literally, like, I get invited to so many different servers, and I always say yes, but then I immediately just mute everything because it just gets out of control.
I think we've got a ranking. They've got a little leveling thing in there that shows you how many times you've posted. So you get like experience points. One of my members and a member of my quote unquote staff on there, Angel with a Sin, she is like number one. I'm like 15 to 20.
Yeah.
It's just crazy. They do all kinds of stuff on there.
How did you get started in RPGs?
Junior high. A friend of mine said, hey, you want to come check out this game? We're going to be over at the comic shop. We're going to this comic shop. So I went and asked my mom to give me a ride over there so I could check this out, and absolutely fell in love with it.
Yeah.
I played a half-elf rogue, my first character, and did not know the rules. Get home, showed some of my other friends. We all copied my character sheet, changed the names, and
they were all half-elf rogues.
And we didn't know what the rules were, but
yeah,
it was an amazing game, so we didn't need the rules.
No, that is so true. What edition was that?
That was first edition.
Yeah. That was going to be my guess, but I didn't want to make any assumptions.
Oh yeah, I've played all of them except for fourth.
Skipped fourth.
I skipped fourth. I skipped fourth when 3.5 came out.
Yeah, many people did. I drug everyone in my group pretty much kicking and screaming through all the editions.
Once, because I had just bought all of the books for 3. and then they announced 3.5. I was so disgusted at that point that I stopped playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah.
Because you just gave me all of these rules, and now you're going to turn around and give me updated versions.
Did you stop gaming, or did you move to a different system?
I moved to a different system. I ended up doing a lot of White Wolf, a lot of Rifts. Well, I've been doing Rifts off and on since high school.
Yeah.
But
what's your favorite game from Rifts, from Palladium?
Ooh, their fantasy one is really good. I personally am a fan of the Nightbane and Beyond the Supernatural.
Yeah. I've played like a session or two of, Heroes Unlimited, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Gotta play the TMNT.
Yeah. But honestly, I like this. So I think I might even own some of the other Palladium games, and at that time I had no idea who made what. Right? They're just like books in my collection. Yeah. Did they do Robotech or BattleTech or one of those?
They did Robotech.
Yeah.
They had the license to do Robotech.
So I had Yeah. So we might have played like a session of Robotech.
I believe I built a character that because I had the Robotech book, I had the TMNT book, and I had one other Palladium book, and I don't remember what it was. I think it was Beyond the Supernatural. So I took those and built a character that was like a mutant guard dog, Veritech fighter ninja. Yeah. And you could do that with the rules. So I was like, yeah, why not?
That, I will say, that is one system that could use another edition. It has not been updated in a very long time. Since
they came out with that second edition, it's still in second edition mode.
Yeah. And my understanding is second edition wasn't very much different from first edition.
Not at all. I think some of the artwork changed in the main book.
Yeah, I think after like 40 years or so, you can get a pass on another edition. It's time.
From what I understand, the Kevin Symbia doesn't even run according to the rules.
Oh.
Because their main office is not far from here, and they have an open house every 4 years. I missed the last one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to get down to the next one just so I'm going to take a couple of my books in there and have him sign them and hopefully get in on a game with him.
I remember we were talking internally about it, and I was talking to someone, and they're like, they don't make that anymore. I'm like, yes, they do. They do. They make it and they sell it, and they've never changed it. It's the same books you bought when you were a kid.
Yep.
They just keep printing them.
It's a great business model. It's almost... Pathfinder did almost the same thing. They just kept adding and adding.
Yeah, well, true. But the only thing I will say is, like, Palladium came out in the 80s when, like, all the systems were, like, all about tables and charts and kind of being a bit redundant with things. I prefer modern RPGs over the earlier ones.
Oh yeah. Less as I've gotten older, I've decided less number crunching, more story.
Also, too, it's like it's hard to get someone into a new game when you're like, hey, you want to do something fun? And you're like, sure, I do. You're like, here, just read all of this, and then we can have calculus. Fun. You know? Or you could just hand them like a playbook from a Power by the Apocalypse game, be like, here, check some boxes, and we can start playing. What are the rules? Roll these 2 dice. Try to get high.
Adventure a week. Those sorts of games that are real simple to bring somebody in.
So is all your gaming D&D now? Are you playing some other games as well?
Actually, all of it is D&D. Everything I'm playing is D&D.
Is that by design or just the happenstance?
Mostly by design. Once 5th edition came out, I got in on I got in a hold of the playtest copy. And my group, when I was down south, we were playing 3.5, and I got a hold of the playtest, and I was like, well, let's swap everything over. And once I did that, I was like, oh, this is it. It made it so much easier to run.
The
I've still got a lot of the other books, but I just don't have the time to play them all.
Yeah, no, that's the truth. Playing 5e kind of made me like realize what I missed from first and second edition. There was things that were kind of lost that you just don't get until you kind of like see them again.
Yeah.
Like I like, when Jeremy Crawford says that 5e is more about rulings over rules. And that I think that kind of sums up, the earlier editions of the game compared to third edition where it was all about the rules.
I have looked back over the different editions and I found out that I really love the odd numbered ones. First, third, and fifth.
I've heard you're not the first person I've heard to say that.
Or it's like Windows editions. Every other one is good.
Yeah. Well, I guess like the even ones for D&D, they really just built on like almost like a previous one. Well, not fourth, but second definitely did. It was building on first edition and making rules that are already a little bit convoluted a lot more complex and more of them. And then 4e, they just went in a completely different direction.
4e had some things I've never played it, but there were some things that I wish they had brought over from into 5e, which like the minions.
Yeah.
I think that was an excellent mechanic I wish they had brought over.
Yeah, I mean, I've often said that as well. At least that's easy, right? Because those rules for minions are easy. Like, okay, if it takes damage, it dies. If it doesn't, if it passes a save, it's still alive. So like so I definitely have brought minions over. I do like the concept of residuum, the idea of like harvesting the essence of magic items to make into new things, which was in 4th. But they also brought over things like the ritual casting, the at-will cantrips, and then there's a lot of things they snuck in that they just described them different. Like every like when we were going over 5e and the rules, like I just took guilty pleasure in picking out all the little details that were pulled from 4th edition that people hated, but now they were okay with.
What's this encounter thing? Oh, it's great when you call it a once per long rest.
Yeah. A lot of those mechanics were basically the same as the 4e mechanics. Encounter abilities versus daily abilities versus whatever, at will abilities. And also like they learned whatever you do at all costs, never mention the word squares because that really angers D&D gamers for some reason. I mean, I don't know. I just saw 4th edition as them trying to simplify and codify the game. Like everything from 4th edition was already there and we're kind of using it, but we just didn't like codify it and call it those things. Like even like the roles, like I know people didn't like that because it was very video gamey, but like the video games got roles from D&D. Like we were already using them. We just called them all different versions of the thing. I remember building your adventuring party and you're like, oh, you need someone to find the traps. You need a thief or a rogue. You need, we maybe didn't call them tanks, but we'd call them meat walls or meat shields. You need your caster, your healer. So I kind of like that. I felt like 4U was an attempt to reclaim back D&D from video games that failed miserably.
One thing I've really liked about 5th edition, because I was a big multi-classer in previous editions because I wanted somebody who could fight, who could pick locks and, cast a bolt. Well, with 5th edition, I choose a fighter. I go Eldritch Knight and I choose a background of a criminal. And that gives me the cross-class stuff that I wanted without actually having to change classes.
Yes, that was definitely something that was really cool. Also, like I remember through the different editions wanting to play like the crime game and being all criminals. But it's like the only way it worked before is like you need levels of rogue almost like to pull it off. But with 5e, through your background choices, feats, and race choices, you can finagle it, and you can have a very diverse group of characters that all can have criminal elements to them without being a rogue.
My Tuesday night game, the Black Door, they're all assassins, but only one of them is actually a rogue assassin.
Yeah, nice.
One of them's a artificer. There's a barbarian. So, but they're all hired killers.
Well, I mean, assassin was always one of those weird classes anyway. It's like, I mean, technically, if you take money for murdering people, you are an assassin. You don't really need a class for that.
Yeah.
And then D&D, like most of the classes in some way or another are good at murdering people.
That's a lot of what they do.
It is a lot of what they do. Murder them, take their stuff, and wash, rinse, repeat.
Hopefully the NPC survives the encounter to give them the information the players need to finish the next section of the quest.
That's what Speak with Dead's for.
Don't tell my players that.
I'm surprised they don't already know.
They probably do, but they're being nice to me.
Yeah. Well, actually, they just don't want to use the spell slot. It's not that I value your life, NPC. It's that I don't want to waste my spell slot.
I think you can ritually cast that one now. I'm not sure.
You might be right. I'm not sure either. So do you prefer GMing or playing?
Honestly, I prefer playing because I can take a character. I can have this whole character back arc, this whole story arc with this one person. Whereas I don't get that when I'm DMing. I prefer to play, but I have found that over the years, if I want to play Dungeons and Dragons, I've got to be the DM.
Yeah, that is definitely a mood.
It's probably not so much now, but in the past, it's definitely been that.
Yeah. Well, now you're also like immersed in a D&D community, so that definitely helps.
Oh yeah.
Have you collabed with any other TikTokers?
Not yet. I've had one of them jump on a couple of my lives, and I'm a member of a Discord group that is nothing but D&D TikTokers. But I haven't had a chance to collaborate with them because of what's going on my server, the games I'm running, and us trying to get a business built up around Dungeons and Dragons.
I see these coalitions beginning to form. They usually meet up over on Twitch.
Yeah. That's like I said, I've got mine and then the Chaotic Rollers, which I've joined up with on Wednesdays. So they're trying to do the same thing. So who knows what's going to happen.
Nice. Do you prefer homebrew or official stuff?
Yes.
Homebrewing the official stuff?
I will take them and take everything out of them, change every name in the book to fit in my world. I run my group of assassins. Every one of those classes is homebrewed. It is a complete reworking of all of the classes. So I do a lot of homebrew stuff.
So like when you say homebrew, like because you'd mentioned like two of them that are actually classes. So are you changing the classes or are you making subclasses?
A lot of them are subclasses, but some of them like are straight up complete reworks of the class. We've got a complete rework of an artificer and I think barbarian that we've broken it all the way back down and rebuilt it up.
What made you want to change the barbarian?
Actually, that wasn't me.
Oh, because I'm kind of like
I've become a figurehead.
That one's pretty good.
Figurehead on my own Discord server. I've got a guy on there, Tormy. He is a homebrew master. And we've gotten suggestions. People ask me, "Hey, what about this as a barbarian class?" Or so I'm like, I don't. Okay, sure. I would allow it if we do the homebrew. And Tormy goes up and goes, okay. And 30 minutes later, he has a rough draft of a homebrew that we can start playtesting to see how it works out.
I'm getting ready to play one of our homebrew barbarian subclasses based off of a monster we made. So we made a monster called a Spell Eater Minotaur, which is like, a Minotaur that's tattooed in runes, and they're very resistant to magic. So Nerdator Doug over on the website made a barbarian subclass, the Spell Eater. So I'll be playing a Minotaur who's going to take that subclass, so I can be a Spell Eater Minotaur.
I've got a Minotaur in one of my games. Yeah.
Well, been a fan ever since Dragonlance and Kaz. So Brian wants to know: have you done any wargaming? I find myself in a gray area between D&D party size 5 to 7 and skirmish units 20 plus.
I did some wargaming back in the 90s when like Mage Knights first came out and the Hero Clicks. That is the closest I've gotten to the wargaming. I found that I am not very good at building armies and using strategy that way. And it became an expensive hobby to lose at every time you played.
Yeah, the closest I got to wargaming was Heroescape. That's about as wargaming as I want it to be.
I bought that game to get the miniatures.
We actually used to play a lot. Ted would do monthly board game nights. And so like usually there's like 4 or 5 tables of board games going. And then like he would set up one Heroescape board for people that wanted to play that. I spent way too much money building a Heroescape set. And also then there's also people that were doing like custom mods that were super cool as well. And they also got a bit of my hard-earned cash as well.
That's another hobby in and of itself.
Yeah. But like part of it too is like the Heroescape was fun to build the terrain. And although depending on the size of board you went with could be quite time consuming. By the way, like our gaming table at Ted's place is a pool table that's got a cover on top of it. So we built some pretty big Heroescape terrain maps. The only problem was though, like what ends up happening is you've got people in the 4 corners. So really, like the other it ends up like a 1 versus 1 on either side of the table because the other side is so far away.
You can't reach the center of it to move any of the combatants around.
Yeah. There were some flaws to the table being so big.
I've noticed some flaws to my gaming table. I can't reach the center of it when I'm trying to move the monsters around on it.
Yeah. Oh, you need one of the what do they call it? The sticks that they use for craps. That's what DM Scotty uses.
I'm going to use one of those gophers. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you can do that
so
too.
I can pick it up and move them.
Just get one of the dinosaur heads on a stick. So let's see. Georgia Huntsman wants to know. You said you're playing in a game. What are you playing?
All right, so I'm playing in 2 of them. In the Wednesday night game, I'm playing currently a Warforged Druid. I wanted a Beast Wars.
I totally did that character as well
because it seemed like fun.
Yes,
Yep. And then the other character in my Saturday night, he is a gnome thief. Basically, I based him on Brandon Fraser from The Mummy.
Oh, nice. So some tomb raiding maybe.
That game is one of the weirder D&D games I've played in.
Yeah.
Remember the movie Waxworks?
That sounds familiar.
The B-rated horror movie came.
Oh, the Wax Museum where where the
Yes.
wax mannequins are coming to life.
Yes.
Okay.
And we've been traveling through different horror movie scenarios.
Oh, nice.
It's been a weird thing.
I'm currently running a Monster of the Week game for diving into such things.
Monster of the Week is such a fun system.
It is. So far, we're on mystery number 3. Um, Mystery number 1 was the Jersey Devil. I lost my heart had my heart stolen in Tall Pines, which is like a local campground to us here in Jersey. And hearts were being taken so the Jersey Devil was trying to have us spawn a child. Then we did what is it? So the organization that the players belong to, Mondays they have Fay coffee and donuts that get delivered. But they went meh, so they had to figure out what went wrong with them. And currently they're working on Ghost to Go Go. Is the current mystery we're working on. And really, like, so far, it's just me like Googling urban legends in New Jersey. And there was a haunted go-go bar in Plainsfield, New Jersey. And I'm like, once that came up, I'm like, yep, that's what we're going to, that's what this is going to be the mystery this week.
That's brilliant. I love things like that.
Yeah. And apparently we have a lot of urban legends here in New Jersey. So it doesn't appear I'm going to run out anytime soon.
I haven't even looked at the urban legends here in Michigan. I'm gonna have to do that.
Well, you know what? There's a TikTok section, right, for that kinds of stuff. And
oh yeah, my wife is probably part of it.
Yeah, like so there's like these like Sasquatch type creatures in the Appalachian Trails, or at least that's the urban legend. And like they have had, the military has had a bunch of people go missing or die on maneuvers in that area. So there's some pretty interesting stories coming out of that there. So that one's not in Jersey, but I might have to send them to deal with that. No. So Bear with a Beer wants to know thoughts about a robotic mimic companion.
I'm one of the DMs that will say yes to pretty much anything. A robotic mimic companion.
Yeah.
Okay, we just have to sit down and figure out how it works. It's one of those, I have no problem. I've been asked like two-headed dragons and as player characters and everything else. I have no problem. You can play almost anything you want as long as we can figure out how to make it mechanically sound for the world.
We had a mimic for a while, and it's like natural form. It kind of looked like a cross between a keg and a dog. We had to like rescue one of we had to rescue one of our players from inside it. They were being held in because it also has like an extra dimensional space inside of it that we had to save them from. And then it ended up, as a companion to the party.
That's basically what Clarence ended up being, my wife's mimic armor.
Yeah. So apparently Brian says in Michigan, you got dogmen.
Dogmen. Ooh, that's actually kind of interesting.
Oh, yeah. Great Lakes Pirates as well. Pirate too. Yeah. I mean, that's one of the things I really love about doing a modern game. Like, you can do things in a modern game that you just can't do in a D&D game. Like when I ran the Tall Pines, like my wife's in that game and we spent many weekends in that campground. Right. So like,
the setting,
the setting, and like they could envision it. And also because it's local, had it been an in-person game, I may have considered like taking a trip down there and grabbing some brochures. But since we were still virtual, it was still super easy to go to their website and pull up their maps and use the stuff from that.
I've got a homebrew game system that I've made up, and when I run it in whatever city we're currently located in. So I basically just pull up a map of the city so everyone knows where McDonald's is and the Home Depot and the Sears and the mall and all of that. And they know how long it takes them to get there. So I love modern settings.
Oh, you know what? Like one of my players from the Game Center, he was telling me where he does this thing where you can take your maps and like import them into Google Maps as some kind of template. And like also like import like 3D renderings and stuff in order to do like a streets map view of them. And I'm like, everything you're like, I'm not even I'm only vaguely comprehending what you're saying. And I'm like, this is amazing.
That is that if that can be done, because I'm working on city maps for my campaign setting.
Yeah.
If that can be done, that will be just amazing.
So apparently it can, because whatever the program that Google Maps uses is the same of another mapping program that he uses, and it's one of the fantasy mappers. So he's able to just export it in that format and then import it into like Google Maps.
Oh, I'm gonna have to research this.
Yeah,
that would make things so. I'm writing that down.
I'll have to ask him. I'll have to ask him for the specifics, the tech stuff, because I just don't remember it. But I could probably get that information.
Yeah, because that would make trying to figure out how far it is from one city to another, and
and especially for your your online games, when you just want to like be able to like show something as a prop to be able to pull that up, like the street view of like your city and you're in your fantasy world. It's crazy. So what is your GMing style?
I am very much a fly by the seat of my pants GM. I will bullet point things out that I want to happen, or like my last night session, I just knew what they were going to fight. That was it, because they never go in the direction that I want them, that I plan out. They kind of go wherever they're going to go. So all right, I know you're fighting this. It's level appropriate for you. During the course of the game, I will just start figuring out how I can implement it into what they're doing. But other than that, it's very much by the seat of my pants.
That sounds familiar. And literally, that's what I do. I establish one combat encounter that I'm probably going to use, and then like you said, maybe some bullet points. And really, that is grown out of me writing full adventures to. I used to do that, and then I was like, well, this never really works out. I don't use any of this. Then I went to like flow charts, and I do still kind of like that, because if they do this or that, like that was fairly useful. I mean, still half of the time they'll pick an option that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
And then what happens, I think, is like, it's time to game. You've had a busy week. You haven't done anything to prepare for the game, and you're just kind of like, well, let's see how it goes. And like, it's like nothing's really different than if you would have spent hours upon hours preparing.
I keep a list of names. I use was it the Lazy DM's workbook?
Yeah.
I love that thing. It's got the weather. It's foggy outside. It's real simple, quick charts in there. And I just keep track of where the NPC's names, what that job is, and where they found them at. And I have a file that's just, and that's how I built out my my city in my main campaign game. It's just a list of names and shops, and which of the 7 dwarves I used to give that character personality, that NPC personality.
That's a lot of what I do. And like, most of my notes for this game come from last session. It's like, is how I kind of run things. Monster of the Week, I've been doing a little bit more, but also at the same time, I feel like I'm doing it because I also kind of enjoy it. Um, and also, like, mysteries are hard in D&D, right? Or in RPGs in general. And Monster a Week has a really cool way of like figuring out the flow of the mystery.
Dawn, dusk,
Yeah.
midday. I like that setup.
Yeah, and just the idea of taking it from, well, this is what the other side is doing, and depending on what your players do determines how far along the track they get. And I think it just makes it a lot easier to kind of track it, and also has nothing to do with what your players do either, really.
Yeah.
It's just whether it's like, where do they interrupt that process, and that's kind of where I guess the adventure, where the rubber is going to hit the road.
I've actually, since I saw that in the Monster of the Week, I've actually kind of, as a good DM does, stolen it and use it as a basis when I'm running a scenario, or if I have a overarching story that I don't plan out for. I'm like, okay, yeah, they've done this now.
So Georgia wants to know, why do you have skulls next to your name on your Discord?
Okay, so I run that on Friday nights. I have the OTS game, the Order of the Scale, and we had a player come in. This was his first session with us, and they went up against a mummy, and he didn't survive. He didn't survive so badly that he got turned to dust and could not be resurrected or brought back. So that was the first skull. The second one happened this last Friday, where I took out 2 other players with owlbears. They walked away, so I narrowed it down to just 1 skull. Once I get 5, it'll be a skull and crossbones.
Nice. Now we know. Are there any games on your radar that you haven't played yet that you would like to get into?
Yes. And I've had the game books for years now. I just haven't played it yet. I want to play the Dresden Files.
Yeah, I have those as well. And they're actually one of the easier RPGs to read.
I am a huge fan, and I just haven't had a chance to play it yet.
Most of the time I find reading RPG rule sets can be like reading stereo instructions at times. And that book does a real good job of kind of like narrating its way through the rules.
Yeah, it's just, Butcher's amazing, and I want to play this game so badly.
We did play a Dresden Files game, but we didn't use those rules. We used second edition Mutants and Masterminds. And and basically we just kind of used the premise of the Dresden verse as our world setting. My brother was playing a mummy that had awoken and wandered into the Egypt nightclub in Philadelphia. So they gave him a job as a bouncer. I was playing like a college kid that got possessed by a Shaolin monk from a fortune cookie, and we had was it that game? There was someone. Oh no, that was our superhero game. I was gonna say we had the Grandpire, which was a guy that was old but a vampire. We've affectionately referred to as the Grandpire, but I think that was actually from our superheroes game. I was so disappointed when Ted never had us go up against the Jersey Devil. I'm like, if you're gonna play local, that's why the first Monster of the Week adventure I did was the Jersey Devil. But so, did you like the last couple books?
I haven't read. I think I'm 2 books behind. I've got them.
Oh no, I
haven't read them yet. Yeah. It's one of those. I want to read them, but I do not want the story to end. It's
Well, another 5 years, maybe you get another book.
Because I almost became a private investigator because of the Dresden Files. I seriously looked into becoming a PI.
I thought you were going to tell me because I'm trying to figure out why Jim Butcher hasn't come out with another book. It's been 5 years.
No,
I need to know.
He's probably enjoying time with his new wife. I actually saw him in a convention in Houston before we moved up here, and so my dreams were fulfilled when it came to that. I saw him walking around. My wife kept going, "No, leave him alone. He's with you can't go over and bother him."
But Tackle, that might be fair game.
Oh no, he's pretty buff. I don't think I would tip that.
Yeah, I was so happy that we at least got 2 books at once. I was convinced he was going to J.R. Martin us.
No, he said he was going to write them all and just release them like every 6 months or so. But
yeah, I assumed like it had to do with him getting a divorce, and like I imagine once you start going through that, you're like, oh, I can't do anything financial now until this is resolved.
That might have a little bit to do with
but
it.
He released the 2 books back to back within like a month or so of each other. Unlike George R.R. Martin, who's like, oh, I wrote too much. We have to break it in 2 books. We're still waiting for the second one 15 years later.
Yeah.
Like that guy is going to Robert Jordan us for sure.
You know, Martin, Patrick Rothfuss.
Yeah. Why do they hate us?
Yeah.
That's why I like my writers hungry. I know I'll get another book if they need to feed themselves. They're only barely sustaining themselves. You'll get another book. Life gets too good, and it's like there's no way. But what are you gonna do? So, when is your next stream game that people can check out?
Actually, tomorrow night, 8 p.m. ish. I say ish because my schedule and the schedule of my players doesn't always line up perfectly.
Yeah.
But tomorrow night at 8 p.m. on our Twitch stream.
How long do those games usually run for?
I usually run them 2 to 3 hours because most of the time I have to get up early and feed my family.
Little things. And I bet they want to eat 3 times a day.
Just the real world involved. Tonight, in fact, I've got my live on TikTok and Twitch Q&A where I will be announcing the winner of my giveaway box.
Ooh, what are we giving away?
Oh my goodness. It started with just a map book, and the original person didn't respond, so I kept adding dice and miniatures. And then somebody added a candles. I had sponsors start adding stuff, and somebody sent me the Icons of the Realm Tiamat to add in this box.
Oh, nice.
So whoever's getting this box is getting a lot of stuff. It's already, I had to take out a loan just for shipping.
That's what I was going to say.
15 pounds. I'm hoping that the winner, I have drawn the name. I'm just hoping the winner doesn't live in Australia.
Or Japan. That's another terrible one.
But I'll be announcing that winner tonight.
We do a monthly giveaway, and we're like always like rolling the dice because we will ship international, but we're always hoping it's not you folks in Australia or Japan. Sorry, nothing personal. It's just the most expensive places to ship things.
I'm actually hoping I get somebody that's local, like Michigan wise, because I could drive it to their house and just give it to them.
Yeah,
save myself shipping altogether.
Well, we've gotten lucky a couple times with that as well. It happens. How much did you say it weighs?
About 15 pounds now. It's got the essentials kit in there. This big old book from Yarrow Studios. It's a battle map, fold out battle map.
Yeah, book. Familiar with them.
Their immersive
Dude's
battle
a Mormon
map book. I've got that in there, and then Tiamat, and then a bunch of dice, a bunch of miniatures. Yeah, I think that's it. But yeah, it's got weight to it.
Yeah. Anything in the box you're sad to see go?
The Tiamat. because I don't own that one.
Yeah.
And it was really hard to not tell the guy that sent it to me, Hilarious Game Master, say, I'm sorry, this just didn't arrive.
I don't know what happened.
Just sit it on my shelf.
Ted gets more attached to stuff than me, so he can commiserate with you for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, so I like collecting the minis. I don't paint them. I like getting the pre-painted ones.
Yeah.
And I got a whole bookshelf, just nothing of it.
That's probably one of the things that also kept me out of wargaming as well, is the idea of painting minis.
Yeah, I have what I call the slop and go method.
Yeah, I never even painted a mini until I went to Origins for the first time, and Realm Smith TV, they do paint and takes, and they had invited me to come in as a guest, and we were painting beholders, and I usually use enough paint to do like 3 minis. It's just like glistening. You could actually use it as your paint board and just take from it. It's not good. I'm not good with fine detail work.
Yeah.
I
use the 50-cent stuff from Walmart to paint with. They come out horrible looking, but good enough for my table.
I mean, when I used to work construction, like a light tool was like 15 pounds for us. Like, we did all big stuff. So yeah, fine detail work, not for me. And also I don't have steady hands or good eyes. I feel like you need like at least one of those.
Oh yeah.
So, although I don't know, I've heard Jeremy from Black Magic Craft talk about having shaky hands and what he has to do in order to be able to paint stuff.
And Black Magic Crafts, that's, like I said earlier, that's how I got the wall here.
Yeah, you do have a fantastic setup. We didn't even talk about that yet.
Yeah, that's and it goes all the way around. I've got a dragon window eye that I haven't finished yet because I don't want to screw it up.
Oh no. Have you done any tours?
No, it's only a 10 by 17 size room. I'm in my basement as well, and this is the nicest part of it because there's like clothes over here. It's a house, lived in house, so the rest of it looks nice when it's not got laundry all over the place from
it happens.
Old pizza boxes and things along that nature.
I mean, we just recently went back to gaming in person, and I guess when I went to Ted's the last time to film, I was like, whoa, the table, it's here. He's like, yeah, well, we're going to be gaming here this weekend. So I guess I had to clean it off. And it was either clean off the table or write material. So I was like, I guess I'll clean the table.
Clean the table. Put off doing what you're supposed to do as long as possible.
Procrastinate. Yeah. What are you going to do?
Definitely my GMing style.
Yeah. Well, that's my lifestyle, essentially. So you said, I don't know if it was before we went live, but you said, I think it was before you went live, you said one of your kids is beginning to DM too?
Yeah, he's only run a couple of game sessions because he's running out of story, but he's got a fairly immersive world he's building.
Nice.
We're in a city that's got a lot of Aarakocra in it, and there's a huge tree, like city-sized tree in the center of it, that the fruit of it is actually becoming explosive for some reason, and we're trying to figure out why.
Oh no, is it randomly dropping fruit bombs?
No, kind of. We haven't gotten the full story on that, and it's been a while since he's run because we dealt with something and he hadn't come up with the next section yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's doing an amazing job with it. And I can't wait till he runs more often so I can give him back some of the pain he's given me.
Yeah. Got to break him in first, let him get a little comfortable, feel good. Then you get him. Try him.
Yeah.
Yeah, make sure he's hooked on GMing first.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't want to run him off.
Be kind to your new GMs. So we
But
are
only for a
right
little
at
while.
the hour mark. Final thoughts before we head on out?
I do have one thing I would like to mention.
Mention away.
It's actually in the link tree that I sent out. There is a thing on there called Helping Hands or Healing Hands. We had a member of our Discord community get in a car wreck, and we were just trying to raise some money up to help them out. Because they just to help out with the bills and stuff. And that's all I really want to say, because I want us to be the heroes we are at the table.
Nice. Yeah, and of course that along with all the other links are in the link tree in the description. People go click on that and follow the AMDM around the interwebs. And until next time, stay nerdy.
Roll some dice.
And we're out.